Rebalancing the country is critical as well. The two slides on the right show two critical elements. First one, it shows the overweening aspect of London in British life. And this is why it breeds huge resentment. I very much like the term divide rather than the not the North-South divide, North-South division concept, because actually Britain needs to work in harmony to try and actually make sure it can rebalance its economy. And this involves harnessing the wealth of London, harnessing the great prosperity that London brings, harnessing London as a great world city for the good of Britain and actually the wider land as well. The second slide actually is quite revealing. I know again you can't see it very well, but it shows the key problem. The sort of turquoise colour, which is sort of London, the southeast, Bristol, Derby, parts of Yorkshire, are the places where there's great demand for high value jobs and a lot of people who can actually take those high value jobs. There's a very, very virtuous circle between the people and the jobs that are available, and that defines the gross value added, it defines the prosperity that we feel in these parts of the country. The rest of the UK, though, is either divided between places which have got too many high-value jobs but no one available to take them, or too many high-value, highly trained people but no jobs available. And that is a very vicious circle, and one which actually, again, needs to be dealt with very severely in terms of rebalancing the economy. And I was very pleased to hear Phil's, although he apologised for a technocratic approach to what the NIC is about, because Britain has missed this long-term planning aspect for too long. And it's critical that we actually come in with a grown-up approach and don't just rely on the market to help rebalance the economy. Next slide, please. This is just a quick reminder. I think most of you are obviously very familiar with planning in London. So, I mean, London prior to the 19th century was a great world city, but at that time the world economy hadn't grown up very much. Through the 19th century, the world economy became increasingly connected, and London grew massively with it. From about 1 million people at the start of the 19th century to about 6 or 7 million people during it. And that only happened because of transport. In 1800, London was a fetid cesspool with huge suburbs, huge amount of deprivation, and people unable to travel any way whatsoever, massive congestion in all its forms, and basically was going to choke on its own horse crap in the streets. We still choke on types of pollution. I'll come on to that shortly. But the critical thing was transport enabled London to actually spread the wealth out, to actually occupy a much bigger area. So first of all, we had the railways from about the 1820s onwards, then the first tube railway, the first underground railway, and actually even the Henry Beck map of the 1930s, which enabled the network to actually recognise for what it was. And these things led, or was a part of the catalyst that led to London becoming the greatest world city. And again, afterwards, or from 1913 onwards, London's population fell, London's prosperity fell, but then with the devolution of powers to the city and financial deregulation, London started remembering what it was for and got into wealth generation again. But actually, it wouldn't have dealt with that in the same way without the huge number of transport schemes that actually happened during that period. And there's plenty of them, again, flipping on the right-hand side of the screen, of basically how London moved to the east. And in South Wales as well, we have the critical issue that the government has been one of the areas of both low-paid jobs and poorly qualified people generically. So it is a very vicious circle for that part of the world. And the government tried lavishing wealth on it, and a huge amount of wealth has gone in terms of taxation transfers, most of which didn't actually succeed very well. But now we have Cardiff, which has been done as has been reinventing itself as a major centre of good jobs, as well as the Cardiff-Bristol corridor. But actually, with hopefully the Valley Line's electrification and South Wales Metro, the critical issue then is we're starting to bring people to the jobs and not trying to bring jobs to the people. So creating a dynamic hub and then providing great transport to it means that the South Wales valleys have got a chance for prosperity that they haven't had before. And again, transport's a catalyst for that. Next slide, please. This is a slide I did at the end of last week. It's not terribly good. The top one shows the Central Line, 46 miles of track, 46 mile route miles, 74 kilometres, which is actually shorter than the distance between Manchester and Leeds or Manchester and Sheffield. And astonishingly, none of those railway lines in North of England are electrified yet. It's absolutely astonishing. I mean, you've got these great cities of 3 or 4 million people, the length apart the Central Line, and they still have got diesel trains chugging between them, trying to labour their way across the Pennines. That's no way to run a modern economy. a good transport system is a critical thing for allowing those cities to specialise and not remain sort of just general local places for commerce, but actually to become much better places for generating more wealth. And it's very simple and easy to do. HS2 might be part of it, but actually the HS3 project to enable this big city region of about 6 or 7 million people, almost to London, is absolutely critical. And I do find it an amazing fact, I'd say, that they're separated by less length on the central line.